Hey guys, YouTuber 100 here. Alright, now here I am with my next Christmas review. And next up, for my next Christmas review, this is going to be a review for the Hey Arnold Christmas special, Arnold's Christmas. So I have talked about quite a few Nickelodeon Christmas specials when I have done Christmas reviews before. I've talked about some of the Rugrats Christmas specials. I've talked about the Fairly Odd Parents Christmas special, Christmas Every Day. I've talked about the SpongeBob Christmas specials. I've talked about Merry Christmas Drake and Josh. So I have talked about quite a few Nickelodeon Christmas specials, but I really don't know why I've never really talked about this one. I don't know why it's taken me this long to talk about it because yeah, this one really is regarded by a lot of people to really be the best Nickelodeon Christmas special of all time. And I even saw the Miss Mojo video of the top 10 Nickelodeon Christmas specials, and yeah, this was number one on that. So this really is regarded by a lot of people to be the best Nickelodeon Christmas special of all time. Yeah, but I didn't really watch this one as much as I did watch the other ones, like the ones that I have talked about, like the other Nickelodeon Christmas specials I've talked about. I really have watched those more than I've watched this one before. So, yeah, I guess that is one reason why I've talked about all those before I talked about this one. But I still really feel that I should have talked about this one long ago. I don't know why it's taken me this long. But yeah, this year I did finally decide to talk about it. And yeah, I think I probably have to agree with people when they do say that this is Nickelodeon's best Christmas special of all time. I really do agree. Because, yeah, I mean, this was just a really, really good special. I mean, yeah, it really does tell a good story. It really is a very different kind of story for a Nickelodeon Christmas special because, yeah, with the ones I've talked about, with the Rugrats specials and the SpongeBob special and the Fairly Odd Parents one and all those, yeah, those really do have more simpler messages. I do think that is more suitable for Nickelodeon audiences. Yeah, because I've talked about how with the with the Rugrats Santa Experience Christmas special. That one kind of has a story about Angelica really realizing that if she's naughty she'll get a coal for Christmas. So yeah, she really does try her best to really actually right a wrong that she did, and also it really is about a Tommy assuring Chucky that Santa's not scary and all that. So yeah, so it is kind of a more simple story for a Christmas special for a more appropriate Nickelodeon audience, yeah. And with SpongeBob with the Christmas Who Christmas special, that is really about bringing Christmas to Bikini Bottom when they've never heard of it before, and just assuring everybody that Santa is real, yeah. And then with Fairly Odd Parents, with it being Christmas every day, that really does tell a message. We've seen that story done before, where they do wish it's Christmas every day, and then they learn that Christmas really is meant to be around for just one day a year. Yeah, so those are more simple stories, but this really has a story that I really do feel that is more that's really kind of show more the meaning of Christmas. This one really isn't about something like just anything really regarding Santa, or showing that Christmas is meant to be once a year or anything like that. This really does have a very different story. With this story, this is really kind of just showing what Christmas really is meant to be like. It's meant to really be with your family, and the story that this special tells, it is kind of a heartfelt story. What this special really is about is, of course, it's Christmas time, and in Arnold's boarding house, all the residents and have a secret Santa draw, and Arnold ends up drawing Mr. Wynn in to be the secret Santa. And when he really does try to go to Mr. Wynn to really ask him what he really wants for Christmas, Mr. Wynn just is telling Arnold that he just really wants to be with his daughter that he hasn't seen in over 20 years. And Mr. Wynn just told the story about why he got separated from his daughter and all this. And yeah, and it shows that Mr. Wynn is just very depressed and just very um forlorn during Christmas time. Yeah, and when Arnold really does learn that Mr. Wynn really does want to be reunited with his daughter, Arnold really just does try to really think of a way that he can really find a Mr. Wynn's daughter and reunite them for Christmas. So yeah, so it is a much more heartfelt story for a Nickelodeon Christmas special than a lot of the ones that like I've talked about before. Yeah, yeah. So I really do see like why people really would like think that this is the best Nickelodeon Christmas special of all time. Like I said, I would have to agree with it. Yeah, it does get like very heartfelt when you like learn the story about like why Mr. Wynn does get separated from his daughter, and even like when Arnold really does like try to really do something that he can actually like find a Mr. Wynn's daughter, he fails at doing like what he feels that he could do to get to find Mr. Wynn's daughter, and so it really just makes Arnold feel that he really did fail at what he wanted to do. But then at the end, when like Helga hears about like Arnold's problem, she really does like try to help Arnold, though without Arnold's knowledge. And yeah, and does show like at the end she really does come through for Arnold. So yeah, so like it. So yeah, if you watch Hey Arnold, you know that like Helga like around Arnold, she's just like really just mean and picking on him. But yeah, like behind Arnold's back, it shows that like Helga like is in love with Arnold. Or also yeah, so this is something where like she really does actually like come through for him without his knowledge of it. Yeah. So this special really just does do a good job of really just kind of like just showing like how during Christmas time like it's good to really like be there for others, and it really does like kind of like show you like what Christmas really is about. Like it's not really like about like presents or like Santa Claus or any of that stuff. It really is about like being with your family, and yeah, this special really just the story that it tells it just is like so good, and yeah, and when and yeah, the ending of this episode can really be enough to really make a full grown man cry. I remember watching this episode, like I just watched it to make this review, and yeah, I kind of got choked up at this ending because yeah, it really was just like very heartfelt to see this be done. So yeah, like I said, it really does make sense as to why this is regarded by a lot of people to be the best Nickelodeon Christmas special of all time. So yeah, so just what else can I say? Just if you haven't seen this Christmas special before, check it out because yeah, for a Nickelodeon Christmas special, it definitely is like a lot more heartfelt and it really does tell like a deeper story than a lot of the other Nickelodeon Christmas specials do. Yeah. All right. So I guess I'll just talk about the plot of this episode. So yeah, oddly enough, the episode opens like without the show. This episode doesn't actually have the opening of the show. Like it just like just opens like with the episode playing, and you just see the Hey Arnold title, and then it eventually shows the title of the episode. Yeah, so I know there were like a few episodes of the show that did this. I remember like the school play episode of the show didn't have the show's regular opening, as well as that Dino checks out episode, and there were like a few others that I can't think of right now. But yeah, and this was like in the show's first season, so I think this was the first episode to open without the show's normal opening. Yeah, yeah, and it shows that like school's out for the holidays, and yeah, and everybody is just celebrating like in the snow and everything, just excited for Christmas, and then it shows that Helga and Phoebe are just talking about like how excited they are for Christmas and how they just are talking about what they enjoy about Christmas. And Helga says how like she's really just interested in the present she'll receive, even when Phoebe just tried to tell Helga that that's really not what Christmas is about. Helga still is saying that she is just like she is like just interested in the presents. And yeah, Helga also says like what she really does want for Christmas, which is um Nancy Spumoni signature snow boots, and apparently like this is like a gift that is in very high demand, so every store is sold out of them. Yeah, and then eventually it shows how like at Arnold's home, like as I said, all the borders are like assigned Secret Santa, and it shows that Arnold has drawn Mr. Wynn. And yeah, like I said, it just showed how Mr. Wynn during Christmas time he's very forlorn and depressed during Christmas. Yeah, yeah. And then when Arnold was just talking to Gerald about like how he doesn't really know what he should get Mr. Wynn for Christmas, Gerald suggested to Arnold that he should just ask Mr. Wynn what he wants. Yeah, and then later on, like Arnold was like really just trying to find out what Mr. Wynn wants for Christmas. And then yeah, then Mr. Wynn then just started telling Arnold the story about Mr. Wynn's lost daughter, and Mr. Wynn was talking about like how 20 years earlier, when he was living in a small village in South Vietnam with his daughter Mai. Hi, uh, there was like the war going on in the north, and it was like getting closer to his village, and Mr. Wynn like knew that they would like have to leave Vietnam to have a better life in America, but it came to a situation where like apparently like when they were like trying to flee North Vietnam on a helicopter, the soldiers aboard the helicopter said that there was only room for one more, so Mr. Wynn handed Mai over to the soldiers for her to escape to have a better life, which ended up like separating them. But Mr. Wynn really did want to actually get to Mai as soon as possible. But yeah, he told Arnold that he wasn't able to actually um immigrate to America for another 20 years. Here's yeah, and so yeah, and Mr. Wynn was just telling Arnold that they've yet to actually reunite, and Mr. Wynn's desire is just to see his daughter again, to know that she is safe and happy. Yeah. So Arnold really just took it upon himself to really try to find Mai, to reunite her and Mr. Wynn for Christmas. So yeah, so it's really like a very just heartfelt story. Just what Arnold really does want to do. Like he actually does want to reunite Mr. Wynn with his daughter, and he really did feel that that was the best Christmas gift that he could give Mr. Wynn. Yeah. Yeah. And as this is going on, Helga is also really trying to find a gift for Arnold, and then eventually Arnold and Gerald then like came up with a plan to try to locate Mai through government records, but the archivist Mr. Bailey just was explaining to them how in order to find her, that could take like weeks each to do. Yeah. So then, yeah. And then, like when they found out that Mr. Bailey had to do some Christmas shopping for his daughter, Arnold and Gerald then made a deal to Mr. Bailey that they would do all of his Christmas shopping, and if they did it, Mr. Bailey would look up the information. So Mr. Bailey agreed to it, but he wanted Arnold and Gerald to get like everything on his list. Yeah, so Arnold and Gerald then went out and they almost completed the list, but yeah, they also saw that on the list were those Nancy Spumoni signature boots that Helga wanted that were sold out. Yeah, and it showed Arnold and Gerald like looking everywhere for them, but yeah, everywhere was sold out. And I kind of like got reminded a little bit of Jingle All the Way here because it showed how Arnold and Gerald were searching for the boots. The employees at the stores were laughing, so it's similar to like how in Jingle All the Way when the store employees were laughing at Howard when he was looking for Turbo Man. So yeah, I don't know if like they got this from Jingle All the Way because yeah, Jingle All the Way did come out a month earlier this than the special. So I don't know if the the writers for this episode actually saw Jingle All the Way and decided to do something like that here, or whatever the case may be. Yeah, but yeah, they were unsuccessful in finding the boots, and so then yeah, when they arrived back at the record office to give Mr. Bailey the gifts, like he saw that they had and gotten the boots, and so then he refused to help the boys and just called the deal off. Yeah, yeah, and it just like then showed when Helga like found out that Arnold and Gerald were unsuccessful, they were just like very upset that they failed on their mission to find Mai. But yeah, Gerald was just telling Arnold that Arnold's effort was what Christmas really was about. Yeah. Then Helga like eventually like Arnold and Gerald like dropped the list, and Helga saw that like they were looking for the boots. And when Helga got back home with to see her parents and sister Olga singing Christmas carols, yeah, yeah, Helga's mother then allowed her to open up a present, and then yeah, and then it showed that the gifts were the Nancy Spumoni signature snow boots, and yeah, just Helga's mom just told her that she stood in line for over 18 hours to get them for her. Yeah, and then as Helga, of course, was like happy that she got them, she eventually then like saw the list again, and then she realized she then like saw a moral dilemma about like how Arnold is really wanting them, him to give to Mr. Bailey so he can find Mr. Wynn's daughter. Yeah. And so then Helga was in a bit of a crossroads on what to do, whether she wanted to keep them or give them away. And then she then decided that she would help Arnold. And then, yeah, Helga then approached Mr. Bailey, who was just about ready to leave the office. And then she was then offering the boots to Mr. Bailey. But yeah, Mr. Bailey was just like not accepting of it. And he was just like, gonna leave. But then Helga then just gave Mr. Bailey a little bit of a guilt trip, saying that like if he didn't do this, Arnold would give up believing in miracles. And so then, yeah, Mr. Bailey then eventually then broke down and agreed to actually find Mr. Wynn's daughter. Yeah. Then it cut to the next day on Christmas when yeah, it showed how Mr. Wynn was still just yeah, very down, and Arnold was also unhappy about not finding Mai. But then, yeah, then as Arnold was beginning to like tell Mr. Wynn what he was going to do, then the doorbell rang, and then Arnold's grandpa answered it, and then it showed then it was Mai. So then, yeah, it showed then Mai then and Mr. Wynn then seeing each other again, and then they were reunited with each other, and then they hugged and were just happy to see each other again. Yeah, and even like when Mai appeared, like you just saw like the everybody else was stunned as well. Like it even showed at one point how it showed like tears in Ernie's eyes. So yeah, so it really did just like show like how heartfelt this really was. Yeah, and as Arnold was looking on, like Arnold just know how this happened, but Gerald just assured Arnold that it was a miracle and it needed no explanation. And he was just telling Arnold that a Christmas angel was maybe just watching over him. And as Arnold was just saying that that could have happened, then it cut to Helga outside of the boarding house, and yeah, you just see her just standing outside, and she said, "Merry Christmas, Arnold," and then that's how it ended. So yeah, so definitely just yeah, it is just a very heartfelt special, just like the story that it tells, and just seeing how Helga really does come through for Arnold. Like, it really just does show you, like, what Christmas really is about. So, yeah, so what can I really say about it? I mean, yeah, I really do understand why it's regarded as the greatest Nickelodeon Christmas special. And yeah, and the story is just, like, so good. So, yeah, I just don't know what else I can say. So, yeah, just, it's a really good special. So, if you haven't seen it, check it out. Yeah, all right. So, yeah, so I guess this is all I can really say about this. So, yeah, so I am glad that I finally did watch this and make a review for it. All right, so this does it for my review of the Arnold's Christmas special from Hey Arnold. So, yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy. And yeah, and there is another Nickelodeon special that I want to talk about. That's going to be my next Christmas review. So, after uh, next one, I review Amazing Spider-Man 2. Then I'll review another Nickelodeon special for my next Christmas review. All right, so stay tuned for that coming up. But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy this review. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.